like so much security for my kids. This is exactly what I'm saying, security. Because man, look, it's a task, man. From doing hair in the morning, you boys putting ponytails. Look, I was watching that Kevin Hart movie, right, that he did on Netflix where he was the father of the little girl and he was a single dad. I couldn't do it. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. My daughter, she is neat.
All this doubt around me, damn it, look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I lay awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right.
Oh, back with another episode. MTMJ Fit Podcast. Man, look, this week I got to thinking about why I got in business for myself, right? Like, what was the purpose? You do get to a moment like when you just get tired of being stuck to someone's schedule. So that was the main reason, man. I want to build a more sustainable lifestyle for me and my family. I want to be more available, but be more available and not be exhausted because I don't work 12 to 14-hour shifts to provide for my family, to provide for this lifestyle, and to provide for my business. I want my business to provide for me. Um, I think back growing up where I really didn't have much, but I had what I needed, so which is enough from uh, being raised by my grandmother, being raised in the church, um, recognizing who God is and what He does for me and what He provides me and how grateful I am for all that. So I'm constantly trying to find ways to get better. But boy, the devil been trying me for the last month, right? I bought a truck back in March, right? When I first got the truck, I went to the dealership with my wife, so she noticed some cosmetic issues, and I knew it was something that really wasn't going to be fixed. I just wanted to put them in a second vehicle so I wouldn't have to share. So, anyway, man, within a month, we really started noticing some issues with the vehicle. Like, front end issues, like there was a popping sound. Maybe 2 months after that, the AC went out. I ended up getting a warranty in the process of all that. And I didn't take the warranty that came from the dealership because I thought it was BS, right? It costs way more than what it actually offers. Um, that wasn't a good idea. I probably should, if hindsight was 50-50 or 20-20 or whatever the saying is, I would have got that warranty. But nonetheless, right, man, I went this week, right, and I said, after all the issues I've been going through, let me actually pay and figure out what's actually been going on with the vehicle over the last few years. And like the dude said, people did a pretty good job taking care of the vehicle with the previous owner. But the problem was I started seeing like some red flags. Like, for instance, the front end is going to continue to have issues. But the biggest one was how they screwed the title up, man. And then by them screwing up the title, they cost me time and money, right? So I end up spending X amount of dollars to get the AC fixed, and then I worked the deal out with the dealership for the front end. Once they did, that still was having issue with the front end. But here's where things got worse. I never want a vehicle to break down on my wife, because I think, that's the worst situation. That's like a smack in the face for me, because I work hard to make sure that I'm providing the most safe and comfortable lifestyle for me and my family. But the truck broke down on her. And then at the time, right, when she told me what was going on, first thing crossed my mind was the transmission, right? So, thank God for the God we serve. We had a nice police officer that was able to tow the vehicle to a safe location. I was able to get it towed out there. I got it towed out there on October 12th. And it is now November, 3rd, and I don't have a resolution to having that vehicle. Long story short, they found out the transmission is gone, the engine is gone. But remember, I paid for the vehicle in March, and it is November. So you do the math. But long story short, it's been a major inconvenience. And I think so many times, right, I wanted to just punch him in his face, because he been lying to me. Like, really lying to me. I think he been knew that the tran and the engine was faulty, but he tried to just buy time, hoping things would get better. And that doesn't do the consumer any good. I'm not going to tell you to stay away from this dealership, so I'm not even going to tell you exactly what the dealership is. But I've been talking, man, for 5 minutes so far, and kind of just recapping what's been going on in my life outside of losing my grandfather-in-law, outside of, more COVID problems for my kids. Yeah, that's what'll be going on. And while all this has been going on, I've still been providing episodes to you guys. Lacking motivation, lacking inspiration, but we back now, right? I done found some sort of consistency. So we are here, and we're going to get this podcast started off right. YouTube, we playing some music right now. Too bad you guys can't hear it. Let's go. Welcome to MTMJ Fit Podcast. I am your host, MTMJ. Right now, we vibing. Shout out to all the creators. Shout out to all the podcasters. Shout out to my contended listeners. Thank you for subscribing to YouTube. Thank you for rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may get your podcast from, man. It's a vibe, man. Hey. But look, on top of that, I've learned. So my wife, she started back working once the kids got in school. And let me tell you something, man. I have grown to truly appreciate the work that she puts in as a mom to providing so much security for my kids. This is exactly what I'm saying, security. Because, man, look, it's a task, man. From doing hair in the morning, you boys putting ponytails. Look, I was watching that Kevin Hart movie, right, that he did on Netflix, where he was the father of the little girl and he was a single dad. I couldn't do it. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. My daughter, she is needy. She doesn't have no compassion for your vehicle. She wants what she wants, and she's not going to take no for an answer. She pouts a lot. She doesn't eat the food that's prepared. She thinks she's supposed to get something else. It is a tug of war with her. It's a lot. And there's no napping, right? She doesn't take naps. Oh my goodness, man. So if you, look, just imagine getting stuck in the house with her for an entire day because she's out on COVID, and she's giving me a list of demands. I love my baby. My son, he's cool. He's in his own little world. But he even tortures her while torturing me. And I love my kids, man. I love my daughter. But Jesus Christ, man, it is a task, right? And like, it can mentally exhaust you. Really. It can mentally exhaust you, man, if you ain't paying attention, man. Really. This is episode 6. MTMJ Fit Podcast. Right now, we listening to some Erykah Badu. Let's go. Back in the day when things were cool. You hear the vibes. Ba 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 da. Hey, but look, I promise you, man, I'm gonna make the best out of my life, right? Because I learned from Pop's death, man, that we got time, man. You gotta love your family, man, and you gotta appreciate it and stop the complaining about the small things. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, while I don't complain much, I harbor a lot of emotions, especially when things ain't going right for me, and that sucks sometimes. Well. Hey, if you've been enjoying this podcast, can you please hit the like button? Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the podcast on YouTube. That's for you. You. Gotcha. You see the energy? I'm feeling good today, right? But one of the cool things about being a parent is like moments like, for instance, my daughter, she went out on close contact last week and she only had to miss 2 days because apparently this person who had COVID in her class had already been out of school, but they had to follow the CDC guidelines as far as the kids being out. So she set out through Halloween, and she was so upset when I took my son to school on Friday, and she was stuck with me. She hated it because she had this little dress. Oh, let me tell you about this dress. So cute, but so freaking messy. There is sparkles everywhere. When I say everywhere, everywhere. And man, I hated it. So I'm talking to her, right? I'm going to put the dress on because they missed school. They let them dress up on Monday. So I'm getting ready to go to school. I come back from dropping off my wife, right? I'm like, come on, Alex. Let's get your clothes on. Let's go. So I put on the clothes that she was going to wear under the dress just in case they took the dress off at some point during the day, right? I'm trying to figure out this contraption. The daggone dress had like some crap in it and like it just was a lot, right? So I'm telling Alex, I'm like, man, Alex, this is me talking to a 3-year-old. How you supposed to put this dress on? She snatches the dress from me and drapes it over her head. That's how you supposed to do it. She puts it over her head. There is glitter all over her hair, all over the floor, all over her face, all over my arm, all over my face. And my son is sitting back. He is laughing. I'm talking about laughing like that. That's how I was laughing. Like, man, what you laughing at, right? Anyway, so we finally figured the dress out. It was inside out, so I had to like get more glitter on me to figure it out. We get the dress on. She said, see, this is how you're supposed to do it. I'm like, Alex, I don't care. It is a mess, right? So we go on, get in the car. I'm stuffing this dress in the car because it is long. It is, oh, we going to talk about the next thing. It's long. It's over her shoes. And she is like, she got her crown on or wand and whatnot. So we get to the school And there's about 7, 8, 9 administrators sitting at the door, and they are cheering her on. And she is excited. But I'm going to tell you, in that moment, I felt so proud as a father. Man, listen, I started tearing up, right? Because, you know, we are our biggest cheerleaders, but it feels so good to see people caring about your kids just as much as you do, and like just making it so comfortable for your children, man. Oh yeah, more Erykah Badu. Let's go. We listening to more Erykah Badu, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube, man. Look, we got to play with the algorithms, man. I got to get this podcast to more like people. I got to get this podcast to the advertisers. I got to get this podcast to more subscribers. I want this podcast to work, man. Because like when I got into it, it was all about a vibe. Hey, nothing but it pays the bills. Hey, make sure you go and subscribe. Make sure you like and share. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at _MTheMotivatorJ_fitness on IG. Hey man, look, I got so much to complain about, but I'm so proud I'm not. Because if I let the devil take advantage of my moments and my shine, I can't get better, man. So take this as motivation. Never stress about the small stuff. Always look towards the greater picture. Let's go. Sometimes. Oh, but I love you strong. Hey. My ain't nothing but it pays the bills. Work ain't nothing but it pays the bills. Lil Bougie got Ugg boots. So we walk in, she got the dress, the boots keep getting stuck. So I pull the dress up and the teacher's like, "Oh my God, Alex, look at you. Ooh, you fancy. You got Ugg boots. I wonder, can I get that color in adults? Probably can't. But girl, I see you." And I'm saying to myself, look at her looking at her. Look at her, right? But look, I am thankful that me and my wife are able to provide for our kids and give them the things that we may necessarily not been able to get. Because I remember growing up, I was rocking the thrift store wear. I'm talking about from your shoes, your outfits, everything. My grandmother needed to save a buck, but she needed to make sure I was clothed. And, you know, I didn't ever want to get to a situation where I struggled or my kids couldn't get. So that's a plus for me, man. That is a win. I appreciate that, man, because you never know, man. It could have been the other way. Oh, more Erykah Badu. Oh, oh. It's a vibe, YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe. This podcast is all about motivation, man. Like when I think back to why I started this podcast and why it became a business, I started it for multiple reasons, but I promise you it wasn't for money, right? All I'm looking for is support, right? But podcast is a big game, man. So if I get the right people to hear due to your support, man, guess what? This can be so much better. My little mini studio, my little lights I got set up, my little green screen, it all came from me, man. So my son's hand is healed, right? This boy hates to miss school now, and he also hates to get picked up early. So the other day, my wife picks him up, right? She posts it on her Instagram story, and I'm looking at it, right? She say, man, you know, I know I'm a little bit early. They're about to call you, so you need to come on. So he come jogging, right? And she says this to him, his face goes, he's like, okay. So she like, say, nah, go on, finish, but just know they're gonna be calling you soon. Long story short, he said a couple weeks ago he wanted to play football. He had never said that before, man. He's been talking more and more about football, man, lately. So looks like Daddy is about to prepare my son, my 9-year-old, 130-pound kid, to play some football. So be looking out for Mike number 2. Then, man, this morning I dropped the kids off at school, right? This is growth, right? So I'm walking Alex up to her side, and Carl has to be dropped off around on another side. My man gets out the car too with everything. He walks himself to school, right? I said, okay, look at you, boy. Right? And look, I thought that was cool, right? Because, you know, big boy, man, that put a smile on my face, man. Oh, we listen to Window Seat now, but if you're enjoying the podcast, man, make sure you follow on Spotify. If you're really enjoying the podcast, make you rate and review on Apple Podcasts, and also subscribe to Apple Podcasts. So that way, when the podcast drop, you'll get it first. It'll automatically download. That helps us. So do me a favor. Hit that daggone subscribe. Hit that rate and review. Like. And make sure you comment, man. If you liking it, shoot me up. Yeah. Oh, go on Instagram, man. Support the podcast. Support the podcast. Hey, look. You know we try to keep the podcast short, so I try to get straight to the point. When I'm flowing like this, you know your boy is in a good mood, man. So thank you for your support. Shout out to all the creators. Shout out to the Joe Budden podcast. Man, y'all stay giving me vibes, man, to really better my podcast. Shout out to Mar and Rory. I see you guys, man. Things went a little off with you guys when you was with Joe and them, but I'm glad you guys found your lane. Let's go! Oh, make sure we shout out I Am Athlete podcast. That's another vibe, man. Y'all got to catch on, man. That's a good podcast, too. Yeah. Next, we're going to be talking about, my wife asked me to come up with the scripture for the funeral. So look, my wife asked me to be a pallbearer. She didn't even need to do that. But the biggest thing is, she asked me to pick up a scripture to read at the funeral. At the time, I didn't know I was reading it. But I want to read it to you guys. And hey, look, write down in the comments or go to my Instagram and tell me what you think. This scripture is coming from 2 Corinthians 5, verse 1 through 8. Tell me if you understand it. For we know that if our earthly house, this tent, is destroyed, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternally in the heavens. For in the groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed with our habitation which is from heaven, if indeed, having been clothed, we should not be found naked. For we who are in the tent groan, being burdened, not because we want to be unclothed, but further clothed, that mortality may be swallowed up by life. Now he who has prepared us for this very thing is God, who also given us the Spirit as a guarantee. So we are always confident, knowing that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. For we walk by faith, right? That's the key. We got to walk with faith and not by sight. We are confident, yes, well pleased rather to be absent from the body but present from the Lord. So that one stood out to me, right? Because I think a lot of times, man, we take this walk in life, right, and we forget about who made us and why he created us and what our opportunities are in life, right? We supposed to share the word. We supposed to give empathy. We supposed to show grace, right? And in the face of evil, we not supposed to crack. We supposed to get better and do better, right? So I look at it like this, right? The only way to win is by staying successful and being prepared and staying patient and waiting for God to lead and guide you so you can be safe, comfort, and free. Man, look, that is greatness, man. Thank you for listening to another episode of MTMJ Fit Podcast, man. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast, and if you did, make sure you hit the like button on YouTube, subscribe, man, share the podcast, comment, man, just let me know what you think, man. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at _M_the_Motivator_J_Fitness. _M_the_Motivator_J_Fitness on Instagram. And make sure you share this podcast so them algorithms can understand what we're talking about. I'm out. Peace.